Ladies and gentlemen, the founder and CEO of Urban Prep Academies, Mr. Tim King.
You can't click a link to watch it or paste a URL to share it. Jermaine Dupri and Sway won't form a panel to compare it. When it comes to the masses, it won't be taught in classes nor seen on a Jumbotron at a crosstown classic. You can't put a pen in the back of it and fasten it to a hat or a jacket. But you can listen now as I break down every facet. The revolution will not be televised. These words come from a poem written by our very own Urban Prep graduate, Mr. Marwin Williams. It was inspired by the late author, musician, and poet Gil Scott-Heron, who popularized the phrase, "The revolution will not be televised," through a poem he wrote in the early 70s. It was a commentary on a nation emerging from decades spent battling for social change. Scott-Heron's poem served as a powerful reminder that the true driving force behind any revolution can never be simplified to be completely captured. It said that change is something that demands agency, that requires action, and that lives when individuals fight for a brighter day. Some 40 years later, I was reminded of this powerful truth as I listened to Mr. Williams and his Urban Prep brothers on a stage reciting their original spoken word riff on the Scott-Heron classic. I realized that the revolution would not be televised because I could see it in those students' eyes. And I see it here today as I stand before these 160 young, intelligent, black, and beautiful men. The revolution will not be televised because the revolution is happening live. You, class of 2013, are the revolution. You are the revolution that's been in the making since you first donned your Urban Prep blazer 4 years ago in this very room. A revolution that is alive as you sit in these chairs as graduates. A revolution that will continue to breathe with new life each and every day you take a step on a college campus. You are the revolution. You are the revolution born out of necessity, created in response to a world where it seems more common to see black men in caskets than in caps and gowns. A world that told you the economic status of your family, the zip code you live in, and the color of your skin define your destiny. A world where, and I know Ian Brock's mom is going to give me an amen on this, a world where the evening news, the front page of the paper, the story at the top of the hour on the radio are far more likely to be about a black boy who's killed and does the killing than it is to be about the 160 black men in this room going to college. You are the revolution. You are the revolution because when people said that a black boy in the hood couldn't do good, you proved them wrong by staying in school and making it here today. You are the revolution because you are setting the new fashion trend by going to college, saying that 100% is the new black. You are the revolution because when the haters ask, and I quote, "With test scores like that, what kind of colleges could those kids possibly be going to?" You answer simply and powerfully. Cornell, the University of Pennsylvania, Georgetown, Kenyon College, and 65 other schools across this great nation. You are the revolution that has kicked the status quo to the curb, ignoring those who told you that young men who look like you are supposed to be incarcerated, not educated. A status quo that said you had a better chance of making it to the grave than making it across this stage. A status quo that argued that you should be shooting threes rather than earning degrees. You are the revolution. You are the revolution, Mr. Williams, because even though you left Urban Prep, You found the courage to come back, to come home. You returned determined not to be defined by your past mistakes, but rather your future successes. You are the revolution, Mr. Brown. I stood in your hospital room watching as you lay only inches from death after being shot in the chest. Like your family, I was scared. And if I'm being honest, I didn't think you'd make it. But I'd forgotten in that moment of fear that you are the revolution. You fought to make sure you would be with your urban prep brothers on the first day of your senior year and this the last day of your senior year. You are the revolution, Mr. Winding, Mr. Williams, and the other graduates who lost parents and family members this year but showed up to school anyway to be with your other family, your urban prep family. And though you can't see them, those you lost are here today watching with pride and love. You are the revolution, Mr. Holmes. You embodied the true definition of resilience over the course of your courageous and quiet battle with leukemia. Beating that disease and serving as an inspiration to your urban prep brothers as you did so. You are the revolution. You are the revolution, Mr. Peak. When you were living in a homeless shelter and did your homework while sitting on the cold, hard tiles of the bathroom floor late into the evening because it was the only room in the facility that had a light on. Your relentlessness has resulted in you not only being the valedictorian, but going to Georgetown University. You will be the light that will light other people's path. You are the revolution. I see the revolution in each and every one of you, in the exceptional things that you have done. You have stared down more tragedy and hardship in your 18 years than the most hardened soldier encounters in a lifetime. But you are the young men of urban prep, and you do not falter in the face of any obstacle placed before you, because you are the revolution. Celebrate your triumph today, gentlemen, but recognize that tomorrow the revolution continues. It continues through your future successes and setbacks. It continues despite those who tell you you can't. It continues in the underclassmen of urban prep and the children you inspire across the world. It continues through your determination to believe. No, the revolution will not be televised. You won't catch it on the evening news. The revolution will not be digitized. It won't get 1 million views. The revolution will not be commercialized. You can't buy it on iTunes. The revolution will not be televised because the revolution is you. Congratulations, class of 2013. We believe.